Welcome back to the channel. We're back with more Edge of Eternities content today. We built a deck profile for every of the commanders in the Edge of Eternity set. Those videos will either be coming out or have already been posted in the playlist down below. So if you guys like that type of stuff and haven't checked it out already, make sure you check it out. But today we're going to be doing something a little different with a tier list of these commanders. We have our tiers from 1 to 4 going left to right. 1 being, oh my god, I'm really excited to play this. I want to build a deck around this. 2 being like, okay, I could see myself building a deck around this at some point. 3 being, I probably won't be building a deck with this as a commander, but I could see putting this in something. And 4 being like, probably not running this. But that's gonna be my general basis as to why I put certain commanders into certain tiers. May move stuff around as we go throughout the video. But if you guys have your own tier list or just your top 5 commanders for this set, leave it down there in the comment section. But let's get into it. Starting off, we have the commander for one of the precons, Kilo Apogee Mine. Has haste whenever Kilo becomes a tapped, proliferate. It's red, white, blue for 3/3 as well. So we're going to have plenty of ways to make sure we keep on tapping this in those decks. We have ways to tap, untap, ways to proliferate poison counters, +1/+1 counters, charge counters. Just so many things that benefit off of proliferation. And this just is like being able to do that in the command zone with the haste, and just the colors that's in really benefit off of it. What being able to do those +1/+1 counters that we like to see. So that's why it's here in tier 1. Also, there's no difference between oh, this is a top tier 1 commander and this is a bottom tier 1 commander. But this one, just really excited to build a deck around it. Second off, we have Manan, the right hand. For 3 and 2 blue, we basically have Ursa in the command zone, which I don't know about you, but Ursa's quite fun. That's not actually, I haven't built an Ursa deck. We have 3 and 2 blue for 3/4 flying. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. Like to do that so we know what's coming. You may cast artifact spells from the top of your library, allowing us to keep on going because artifacts you control have tap and blue mana, spend small and only cast cards from anywhere other than your hand. So we cast artifact from the top, tap it for the mana, and then cast another artifact from the top because we have the mana again. Ways to mill stuff off the top of our deck in order to make sure that we don't keep running into lands, or maybe we'll run into an artifact land. Make cast artifact spells, so you can't actually get your lands. But still, being able to just storm off with your artifacts from the top of your deck with a 3/4 body and all those counter spells that'll be able to protect it in mono blue. This is just a really good commander to me. I like to see it. And plus, you could put Ursa in the stack so that you could then benefit off those artifacts even more. Another one, the other precon commander we actually have here is Cesaril, Genesis Shepherd. I don't actually know if I'm pronouncing these correctly, by the way. For 2 black, red, and green, we have flying. You may play lands from your graveyard, and we have ways to get stuff into our graveyard where whenever you sacrifice an artifact, non-token permanent during your turn, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power on up to one other target creature. Allowing us to play lands from the graveyard is super helpful, especially in the colors, especially with all the cards in the set that are allowing us to sacrifice lands. Yeah, and we just like to see it. Well, actually, this one's more tier 2 than it's tier 1. For some reason, I thought it also sacrificed the land, but it doesn't. So probably more there in tier 2. Tanuk said for a second, honestly, the commander I'm most excited for in this entire set. For 2 and 2 red, other creatures you control have haste, but that's not the ability we care about. Artifact cards and creature cards in your hand have warp for 3, so what's more fun than being able to cheat in a Blightsteel Colossus for 3 mana on turn 3? Just being able to swing in on that. All of our big creatures with the big stat lines and the big casting costs no longer have to worry about how much they cost to cast, so we'll be able to deal that big damage to our opponents. I mean, it is a bit of a more Timmy commander, some people may say, especially being in mono red. It doesn't have counter spells, it doesn't have that much removal, it has a lot of draw power. But overall, just being able to cast stuff from exile is also super fun, especially once you warp away your stuff, and those benefits you get for that. this one, I really like the deck profile made of it too. On to the second tier. I might build these ones at a certain point, like I said. Diadrine, Synthesis, Amalgam. This one I'm definitely putting into another deck that I have, but maybe build it as a commander as well. Trample, Diadrine enters with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. So we don't care exactly what X is equal to, but if this is in the command zone, and then we have to use that commander cost to cast it again, that's an extra 2 mana. That's an additional 2 +1/+1 counters. So there's just benefits off of being in the command zone in the first place. Then we can play whatever we want for X. And then whenever you attack, you may remove +1/+1 counter from each of up to 2 target creatures you control. Create a 2/2 robot and draw a card so we get some tokens, we get some draw power, get more things to put those +1/+1 counters on in order to get that additional draw power in the future. Actually, this one might be a tier 1 commander. Let's move you over since we only have Doreen in the top tier. Where'd you go? Oh, he's on top. Hearthold, the World Seed for 1 black, green, red. You get Station. Once you're Station at 2, which is the main ability we actually care about with this one. You have Sacrifice land, draw 2, play an additional land during this turn. And then if you have Cesaro on the battlefield with him as well, be able to play that from the graveyard. But just being able to have that level of draw power and being able to play more and more lands, just because if you have like Conduit of Worlds, there's plenty of things that allow you to play lands from your graveyard. That's all I'm trying to say. So, I like to see it. And then eventually you could station it for 8 for Flying Vigilance Haste. Takes 4 shots for commander damage if you don't have a way to buff it. But whenever you sacrifice land, each opponent loses 2 life. So it powers up itself, like getting its own ability. Just helps you out a whole bunch. Infinite Guideline Station. Another commander. Like, I know it's good. I'm just still not a fan of Wooburg commanders myself. Just because anytime I try building like a Wooburg deck, it takes me so long to build it because I'm just like, oh, I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do this. But sometimes you just need to focus on something. This does have a main focus of just wanting to have the multicolored permanents on your battlefield. So we get plenty of 2/2 robot tokens, get plenty of draw power if we had that as well once we station it. So you run cards that'll really just benefit off of that. I mean, there's plenty of multicolored permanents out there. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 in what we're doing right now alone out of 10, 18, 22. But yeah, it's overall a good one. Inspirit Flagship Vessel, another one of the precon commanders. It's only 3 mana, but at the beginning of your combat on your turn, put your choice of +1/+1 counter or 2 charge counters on up to another target creature, target artifact, allowing it to basically power itself up to get to that 8 even easier. It only takes us 1 to station it, so we'll tend to have that. And then eventually, other artifacts you control have hexproof and indestructible. If we have a way to give this indestructible, I mean, it basically makes everything on your board indestructible, especially if you have Darksteel Monolith. I know there's Darksteel Forge, I think it is. It's some Darksteel card that costs 9 mana, gives all artifacts indestructible. But that helps us out a whole bunch. This makes that indestructible, this makes that indestructible. You're basically indestructible yourself. But overall, just a good commander. Making all of our stuff indestructible helps us out a whole bunch. Ragas, Death Gastrant, and this one's really popular. Because artifacts you control are food. In addition to the other types, you pay 1 to sacrifice the food, deal 3 damage to each opponent, and be your end step if you gain life this turn. Untap Ragos. I mean, it's burn plus life gain plus food. I mean, he helps power himself up by giving the food tokens to sacrifice, which will allow you to then deal damage. But then if you sacrifice those foods, you don't have them to deal damage to your opponent with. So you don't have them to gain life with. So it's like a bit of a conundrum where, like, do you use it in order to do it, or, like, what do you do? But it also has, at the each end step, if you gain life this turn, untap Ragos. So, like, if you have something like, what's it called? Console of something. The mono white one that says whenever your opponent's creatures enter tapped, and you could pay 1. And you gain a life anytime a creature enters under their control. Or if you have like the Soul Sisters on the battlefield, those help you out a whole bunch. Yeah, pretty fun there. Sir Von Dam, Sunstar Exemplar. This one was a lot more fun than I thought it would be to build. Because I was just like, what am I supposed to do? But this one is whenever another creature you control dies or is put into exile, aka if we blink one of our things away, put a +1/+1 counter on serve on damage, and you gain a life. The life gain we don't really care about, it's more +1/+1 counters. This way, when serve on dam dies or is put into exile, while its power is 4 or greater, destroy up to one target non-land permanent. Some removal in the command zone helps us blink it a whole bunch, or other creatures a whole bunch, in order to get the +1/+1 counters onto this creature. And then we can blink this eventually in order to get those counters off of it, but it does get to destroy one of our opponent's things. This is arrow. Tanuk, Memorial Ensign. Whenever a land you control enters, deal 1 damage to each opponent. Always fun to do some landfall. Always fun to deal a little bit of burn. And if it's the second time this ability has resolved its turn, draw a card. Draw power plus landfall. Having additional lands played in your additional turns helps out a whole bunch. Helps power itself up. Helps deal that damage. It's in red, so you could double that damage. You could triple that damage. You could run Ogier Axonil in order to deal 4 damage whenever you're dealing that 1 damage because he's a red source. Run Tanuk. I don't know why, but you could. But yeah, just overall fun. Landfall, red, green. That's it. And the Seriema. It's surge power in the command zone for a legendary creature, so this doesn't necessarily have to be your commander. You have a secret commander in your deck. Who knows what it could be? It could be. I'm trying to think of like a weak one. It could be Halia, Guided by Light or something. I don't know. But you are mono white, so that's like a little bit of a downside. But yeah, flying other tap legendary creatures you control have indestructible, so you could swing them with them pretty easily. Allow us to deal plenty of damage to our opponent. But making them indestructible just helps us out a whole bunch, preventing those board wipes. Run board wipe tribal essentially with this deck by just, giving all of our stuff indestructible and just destroying our opponent's stuff. Then, they fare well us and we're dead anyway. Onto our tier 3 commanders. Sometimes with certain commanders, I know they're very strong, but I have to put them a tier lower because I know you're going to get targeted by your opponent. Ward, discard a card at random. Whenever he attacks, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn, which is super easy to do in black because you can just sacrifice anything you want, or spells warp this turn, defending player loses half their life rounded up. Okay. So, he's a very strong commander. Honestly, probably deserves to be tier 2, because he deals half your opponent's life to them. But here's the thing. Someone sees you have deal half my life points worth of damage in the command zone, they're going to probably start targeting you, because it's not like one of those things where you're going to be the one to, like, remove someone from the game. But if you put someone else, like, behind enough in life total where they're starting to, like, worry about their life total, people are going to want to target you. So that's why we have it down here in tier 3. Dunstar Sunstar Dreadnought. Really fun ability with the 10. You get whenever you attack, deal 100 damage to one target creature or planeswalker. And it's flying 20/20. We're 1 short on damage for the commander damage. So, but dealing 100 damage to one target creature or planeswalker, basically it's removal on a stick in the command zone. But if you have other cards that'll benefit off this, like Brash Taunter or what's the other one? Stuffy Doll. Deal 100 damage to those, deal 100 damage to target opponent. I mean, can you blame us when we're just, winning this game and then the next game? All in one turn. But overall, super fun ability there. It is colorless, so that's why it's down here in tier 3 though. So as much fun as like I do have with it, I think it just being colorless is a little hard. I think it more so fits in another deck more than it does as in the command zone. Halia, Guided by Light. This one I kept like switching it between like tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. I ended up having it land in tier 3 solely partially for the fact that it is in mono white, which is a color that does need a bit more support. Whenever Halia or another creature or artifact enters, you gain a life, which we like to see. There's a whole bunch of mono white cards that do that. I mean, life gain is just a staple for mono white. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if you gain 3 or more life this turn. So you have life gain, you have draw power, both in the command zone, and it has warp for 1. Just having it in the command zone, you don't really need the warp. Oh, sorry, Will. Actually, no, the warp does help you get around your commander cost, which is actually really pretty fun there, I just realized. Okay, I didn't actually think about that until now. I think he does deserve tier 2, because he's draw power plus the life gain. He helps power himself, yeah. I mean, even if he is mono white, that's just so many strong abilities. Yeah, he deserves tier 2. Next up we have Sammy Wildcat Captain, Double Strike Vigilance. Oop. Spells you cast have affinity for artifacts. I mean, this one's also really fun, Commander, because you get to run all of your big X spells, just for, whatever your amount of artifacts you have is. Only problem is that he does cost 6 mana to get him on the board. Instead of double striking, or sorry, is that she? I don't actually know. So yeah, that's the problem, is that you do have the 6 mana casting cost, so it does take a bit. You are on Boros, so it is a little bit hard to get it on the battlefield. But then, like, once you do get it on the battlefield, it starts to pop off, like, a lot. So, like, as much as I want to build this one as a commander, I just can't. I don't know. 6 is a lot for Boros, like not having green. But like, I think he'd fit. She'd fit really well in like an Infinite Guideline Station, or actually, oh no, not Hydron. Is that the only other Boros commander? Oh no, Ship's Engineer. Next up we have Zoo Efeat Osteo Harmonist. For 1 and 2 black, you get 2 Druid. Return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's a skeleton in addition to its other types. Has no abilities, but you could activate this only as a sorcery. I mean, being able to return just a big creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, I mean, maybe you didn't have any abilities to begin with. It's a really strong ability. You are in mono black, so you don't have like the red to really benefit off of. Like when target creature enters, you deal X damage to target opponent. So that is a bit of a downside there, but still, being able to just reanimate, then eventually we could blink it, but we're not in white or blue, so we don't really have that many ways to blink it. That is like the reason why it is down here in tier 3. And it only has a sorcery's downside, but we do have ways to power up skeletons in mono black. Quite a few ways, which we'll be posting that deck profile shortly. Stay tuned. Alright, tier 4. The ones where I'm just like, okay, this is an okay card. We have a Feral, Dreaming Acolyte. Draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact. During your turn, has Death Touch. I mean, you can blink her in order to do it again because you do have blue, but this little bit of draw power in the command zone doesn't compare to like the amount of draw power that you get off of like Halia or like what was it? Not in Spirit, Hearthole. It's just like hard to compare, especially because like it doesn't like it's just draw power. It doesn't have anything else like really going for it. But overall, this could be a fun card there for an Dimir artifact deck, which I don't even know if like Dimir has that many like good artifact synergies. I know blue does. Yeah. Halia, Ascending Cadet. Oh wait, who's the other Halia? No, there's only the one Halia. Okay. Whenever it attacks or enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Ooh. And whenever one or more creatures you control with +1/+1 counter on them, deal count damage to a player. Draw a card. So, I mean, she does get herself started by getting those counters on something. She doesn't give anything trample, is the only thing. So, I mean, if she gave something trample, I think she'd go to tier 3. Because, like, she gives them the counters, then they're able to deal the combat damage. But like someone's just gonna block out a 1/1, and like you spent 5 mana for a 3/3, which could become a 4/4 with that counter and a little bit of draw power. There's just, I mean, honestly, like it's the same problem with Feral. Like there's better just draw power things. There's better things for +1/+1 counters out there. Like this compared to Diadrine, I think it's just like not even like a fair comparison because Diadrine's just so much better. I mean, but this plus Diadrine do come in like a nice little pair because you put all +1/+1 counters on Diadrine and you deal all the damage and you get to draw that card. Next off, we have Mememnon, Urtos Exile. This compared to the other Mememnon, it's not nearly as good. Flying whenever an artifact you control enters, put +1/+1 counter on target creature. Honestly, probably my favorite out of the tier 4 commanders, just because like it could get quite powerful. It's flying. You could have treasure tokens enter. You could have Dopter tokens enter. There's a lot of ways in red blue to get those. What's it called? plus one counters onto this in order to have potentially swinging for commander damage. But that just doesn't have a way to get itself started. Also, itself is not an artifact. So that does put it a little bit behind there as well. But overall, fun commander. Works really well in Spirit, in all honesty. Or, I mean, honestly, if you didn't want to have actual Memnon in your command zone, you want to have secret Memnon, you could run this as your commander and then have Memnon in the background somewhere. Sammy, Ship's Engineer. Any of your end step, if you control 2 or more tapped creatures, get a 2/2 robot artifact token. That's it. It's 4 mana for a 2/4 too. No draw power, no way to, I mean, like, it doesn't have weight. If it had a way to, like, say, like, oh, this creature says tap target creature, it gets, I don't know, it gets something. It gets to, like, draw a card, discard a card. Or, like, if it had a way to, like, say, like, tap target creature, it gains indestructible till end of turn. Something like along those lines. Like, similar to, like, Mother of Runes almost. I mean, there are plenty of ways, like, creatures that do like to tap themselves for the cost. So you do have, like, ways to get it. Just, I'd run something else in the command zone, I think. Probably Raghost. Or Sammy. Serve Van Dam to Lucent. That touch lifelink whenever Serve Van Dam enters or attacks. Other creatures control get +1/+0 and gain Death Touch on turn. I mean, it is one of those ones where if our opponent is just like, oh, they only have the one Death Toucher, we can potentially have white to blink this in order to give all of our tokens that we created +1/+0 and Death Touch in order to, move our opponent's entire board. I think overall this one's just like, could be fun. If it, yeah, I don't know, maybe this one does deserve tier 3. Yeah, maybe. It just doesn't have like I don't know, maybe. It's just the casting cost is still 5 mana. But yeah, overall, this one's actually like quite fun. So I think I'll put it in tier 3. Just because I like this one a whole bunch. Just because, like, they'll never see it coming. But that's overall my opinions on the commanders here. Some of them I went into more detail than others. If you guys want to see more details on any of the commanders, check out the playlist we have on the channel down below, where we cover all the Edge of Eternities commanders. But honestly, these 4, super fun commanders. I can't wait to play them. But thanks so much for tuning into the channel. Hope you have a great rest of the day.